us tonight. America today and the Iraq War. That is the subject of this evening's Talking Points memo. It was 10 years ago that President Bush launched an attack on Iraq.
Operation Iraqi Freedom has begun, and the Pentagon says Saddam Hussein's days are numbered. I'm Shepard Smith. This is the Fox Report on Fox News Channel and tonight on Fox stations from coast to coast. Bombs and cruise missiles rained down on Baghdad for a second night in a row, and Saddam's main presidential palace taking a direct hit. Iraqi radio says Saddam Hussein's family home got hit as well.
Now, that marked 8 long years of conflict in Iraq. Almost 4,500 Americans dead, more than 32,000 wounded, almost $1 trillion spent. Was it worth it? Many liberals say no, some conservatives say yes. The Wall Street Journal today supporting the war in Iraq on its editorial page. Of course, the New York Times thinks it was foolish. But no matter what you think, the Iraq war has changed America. We now have a $17 trillion debt, and obviously Iraq contributed to that. We also have thousands of wounded warriors the country must take care of. And we have an ideological battle over how to deal with villains like Iran. As you may know, I supported the Iraq war based upon weapons of mass destruction intel. Subsequently, I believe we could have removed Saddam Hussein in another way that would not have been so damaging to America. I mean, the man had to go. He was a terrorist and an international outlaw. But in hindsight, we should have strangled him with a blockade and used our air power to destroy his infrastructure. But Talking Points is not a second guesser. My opinion about the Iraq war 10 years ago was based on reality, not ideology or party politics. But the reality for America has now changed. As we're seeing in Afghanistan, we simply cannot impose democracy and human rights on nations that have no real desire for those things. As we'll show you later in the broadcast, most people in Iraq today despise the USA. And I think the same can be said for the Afghans. No matter how much good we do for these people, they don't like us because we are infidels. So we cannot wage war for any other reason than to protect the homeland. America and the coalition won the Iraq war because of our brave military and because President Bush finally wised up and used both brains and brawn. But we were lucky. Most Democrats wanted to surrender. Give Bush credit for toughing it out. But you can also criticize him for not anticipating the difficulties of that campaign. Bottom line, let's not do that kind of thing again. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, reaction. Joining us from Washington, Kate Obershane, a Republican, and Kirsten Powers, a Democrat, and Fox News analyst. So Powers, you have a quibble? Do you have a quibble with the memo this evening?
Well, I agree with let's not do it again, for sure. And I think a lot of what you said is right. That I mean, I opposed the war at the time, and I didn't oppose it for partisan reasons. I opposed it because I didn't think that we faced any serious threat from Saddam Hussein. And,
okay, but let me stop you there. So your analysis back then 10 years ago was that you, Kirsten Powers, came to the independent conclusion, devoid of your liberal beliefs or Democratic Party politics, that this simply wasn't a campaign worth waging. But let me play you a soundbite from Hillary Clinton and get your reaction to that. Go.
Okay.
In the 4 years since the inspectors left, intelligence reports show that Saddam Hussein has worked to rebuild his chemical and biological weapons stock, his missile delivery capability, and his nuclear program. He has also given aid, comfort, and sanctuary to terrorists, including al-Qaeda members. It is clear, however, that if left unchecked, Saddam Hussein will continue to increase his capacity to wage biological and chemical warfare and will keep trying to develop nuclear weapons.
All right, so Hillary Clinton says this, and that was before the war began. But you didn't buy into that, Powers, and I'm very curious to know why you didn't buy Hillary Clinton's line.
I just don't think there was a lot of evidence to support what she was saying. I mean, it's very painful even to listen to it now, honestly. You know, and that speech that she just gave there is why I didn't vote for her in the primary.
All the intelligence evidence.
Wait, Kate, go ahead.
And I don't even claiming that he had this relationship with al-Qaeda. I mean, it's just absurd. And there were plenty of people at the time who were saying
Ansar al-Islam was ensconced in the northern part of Iraq, so that's not absurd. I mean, because they were an al-Qaeda
Saddam was not a supporter of al-Qaeda. I mean, that's absurd.
Okay.
And we have been attacked attacked. We had been attacked by al-Qaeda, and that we went into Iraq did not at the time make any sense to me. I did support going into Afghanistan, but I did not make any sense at the time.
Well, you were smarter than me, and you were smarter than Hillary Clinton. All right, Kate, go ahead.
And smarter than 40 nations around the world, and the collective intelligence that was available at the time. And it was known that Saddam was a supporter of terrorist organizations, also that he was a genocidal maniac. Look, the goal was to rid the world of Saddam Hussein, and that was a good thing. That was the short-term objective. It was accomplished. The long-term objective that we're looking at now is that we wanted a reliable ally in the region, but because Obama couldn't stick it out, as Bush could stick it out, we left, arguably, I'm not talking about nation building, Bill, but we left before the reforms that we had made had a chance to solidify, and now we face the
10 years isn't enough time,
now we face,
I mean,
hang on 1 second, Kirsten, because now we face the prospect that Iraq is allies with Iran. Yes, it is a long, painful process, but when Iraq is now the leader of Iraq
Kate,
that the Iranians wanted in is now offering support to Assad.
What you're talking about is theoretical, but go back to my talking points memo.
No, it's not theoretical.
Yes, it is. It's absolutely theoretical, because we don't know how Iraq is going to deal with Iran. Iran's more powerful than Iraq. What you're talking about is theoretical, but what I'm saying is you can't trust Iraq, and you can't trust Afghanistan. You can't trust any of these people. They're not looking out for us. So that to get involved with them with blood and treasure, and to hope that the outcome is going to be favorable to the USA is just that, a hope. And we can't be risking this kind of treasure and blood on a hope. You go in, you smack Saddam Hussein, you get the hell out. All right, now, I'm going to give each of you about 45 seconds to sum it up. All right, Kirsten, you go first.
I just agree with you, Bill, and I don't even know what to do with that. But you're absolutely right. It is too many people died. We spent too much money. There's too many people who are suffering now because of this, you know, at home, people with whether it's mental illness or physical illness or missing limbs. There were, God knows how many Iraqis were killed. I mean, the estimates, you know, up to 100,000 people. You know, I don't think this was worth it. I think it was a mistake, and I think that we should have never done it.
The sacrifice of that treasure we need to honor at this point in order and win the peace, Bill. That is the most important part. Yeah, we won. We got rid of Saddam, but now we've got to win the peace and have some solid influence in the region. Bill, it is always what happened was Obama was fulfilling a campaign promise to get out as fast as he could.
I know what Obama did, and I would have tried to have kept more people there. But look, the reality of the situation, Kate, and you need to open your eyes and see it, is that Maliki wasn't cooperating with the United States. He made it almost impossible for us to stay there.
He was Iran's pick for prime minister, Bill. We let Iran's pick become prime minister. He didn't even win the election.
We can't impose it.
We can have influence, Bill. That's the thing.
You can't have influence on people who hate you.
Liberators, not oppressors.
All right. I want to say two things. This doesn't have to do with you two, so you don't have to reply. Number one, at the end of this broadcast, we're going to show you how much Iraqis like the USA. Okay? We'll show you. All right? And number two, we are going to now embark on a fundraising campaign for both the Wounded Warriors and Fisher House. That will begin shortly, because we are going to not abandon our military people who did the best they could. Ladies